ready? Okay. So how you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Busy week, but I'm happy it's Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy Friday.
So, very quick. Last week, we put David on the spot. We're gonna do that again, but it looks like people already want to see who that video guy is. So, don't mind us. Well, hello. Welcome again to LT Let's Talk Ed. We're back. Very excited. Keep sending the feedback if you haven't been watching. Hopefully you're doing so. Ready to answer all your questions. It's all about college. Last week's topic actually got a few hits because of the subject matter. So if you haven't seen that, please go back and look at it. So, hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Okay. So I just sent Sarah a text to just let her know what we're going to be talking about today. And I don't think I gave you much information. I just asked you, I said, do you still have student loans? Was all I asked.
Yes.
Right? So let's start with,
Okay.
how did your parents even prepare for college? What was the whole, are we going to be paying for college? Let's start with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have siblings.
Okay.
And so one of my siblings went to college later in life.
Okay.
So my parents didn't have to take care of that. My other sibling was very good in sports.
Okay.
So also didn't have to pay for that.
Okay.
So I was the last one, and I don't think we ever really discussed it.
Okay.
It was more assumed that they were going to pay for it, to be honest with you. And then they did.
Okay.
So I was very fortunate that I didn't have student loans, but it was more you have to work hard and keep your grades up, that kind of thing.
Right. Good. All right. So I'm going to read this out here because I didn't want to memorize it. But it says, on the average student loan debt in the United States, the average college debt among student loan borrowers in America is $32,000.
Yeah.
According to the Federal Reserve, this is an increase of approximately 20% from 2015 to 2016, which means this is just 30,000 average. It's going to get worse, right? Okay. Most borrowers have between 25 and 50,000 outstanding in student loan debt, but more than 600,000 borrowers in the country are over 200,000 in student debt. And that number may continue to increase.
Well, I imagine it will, because if I was going to school now, would it be the same situation where my parents could afford to pay? The answer may be no, right? So I think, unfortunately, part of it is the time that we're in, how everything has increased. And now your statistic that you just read makes sense, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Okay. So our topic today is don't pay for college, right? And it sounds crazy, but kind of what I want us to discuss is how not to. And also, basically, like I said, I'm happy you mentioned the sports scholarship, right? There are so many ways. Before we started, I was actually talking to David about this. And by the way, David is in debt already, and he's still in college. So it's about 20 grand, which was kind of what I had. So how much debt did you have after college?
Yes, zero.
No way.
Yep. So my parents paid for all of it. I did graduate early, right? Because I went to a private school. So
you were just way too smart. That's what it was. Yeah.
I was not way too smart. So I was very fortunate that they paid for all of it.
Wow.
I did help them by graduating early. I did do summer classes, right, at a cheaper school, to help keep the cost down, but also get all of my courses needed in order to graduate. But on that, I can say that my husband did have student debt, which I ended up paying for along with him because his parents couldn't, right? And so what he did, and I think a lot of people do, and I don't think it is a bad avenue, is go to community college first, take the gen ed classes, get those out of the way, and then transfer somewhere else if that's what you want to do. Okay. It not only saves money, but it also helps you now in the competing environment that we're in to get into school, where it's so much harder than it was when I was in school, that your grades are hopefully going to be good, and then you can transfer in, and that seems to be easier.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because maybe the guys, we don't do good because I did the same thing.
Okay.
I had about 20,000 and Simone came in with zero and she helped pay for that out.
Right.
So David, maybe we just don't, the guys. But no, that's great. That's why I was laughing. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. But again, fortunately, that was her first agenda. It's like, let's try to get a student loan, and we're able to do that. And I was so happy we got it out of the way. Now, in my situation, I actually, the first college I went to, we talked about this last week, was I had a full ride. I got financial aid to do that. When I transferred, however, to do my second, my real engineering, I didn't have any choice but to take out some loans, and that's how I got into that. So to kind of hear your story is very interesting that we have kind of the same story. So, okay, good. So we both, I see David, David's like, how did you all do it? Well, David, you got to get married. I guess that's one way to do it, right? No, but the other thing you touched on was the same thing David and I were discussing. I said, David, I'm actually hoping that this segment, parents could watch this as well, not just the students, because just preparing people. Right. But you said it, community college. What I said even to David was, one, I'm not against the four-year institutions, have good programs, and I've told my students, if State, if Duke, whatever, if they say, hey, scholarship, here you go, don't come in, don't pay anything, I'm not holding you back. Right. But if you have to be paying, please, and not as because I'm all for community colleges now, I'm part of the community college system, it is the smartest way to do for your first 2 years. And in addition to that, Simone did that. I mean, she went to community college for the first 2 years, and that's why she's like, well, that's why you got all that student loans and I don't, right? So, place to start with that. Okay. Now, a couple of questions that I also kind of wanted to ask as we're talking about this here.
Oh, I did have one more thing.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
My husband also worked for a company that paid partial. Okay. So there are companies that will do that if you can manage your workload while working, and that did help. Otherwise, his debt would have been a lot worse.
Right. Okay. So questions that I had was, did you pay for college? We already talked about that. How did you pay for college? It looks like you hit it right on the point. I said, did you take out a loan? And you were like, zero. And David and I are like, well, good for you, Sarah. Yeah. But we didn't. The other thing I also kind of want to touch on is when you were, I guess your parents, when they were planning on where to go to college, were you part of that decision making? And the reason I'm asking this is because of cost, right? Right. So, yeah.
They definitely were, and I think I touched this on maybe the first segment, where, you know, a larger school wasn't for me, right? And I maybe thought it was, but sometimes your parents do know best, just in your teenage years. Or even in my adult years. So, but they kind of steered me in a way that I would be successful.
Good. All right. So I'm trying to figure out how, parents actually have a very good situation right now where one of our close friends' daughter is getting ready to go to college, and she's got a very great college that she wants to go to, but it's a little expensive, right? Right. Even though with all the full ride that she'll be getting, it's still going to be some money that they have to probably take out to kind of help do that. And I want us to have this conversation because, one, I joke about don't go to Harvard to major in basket weaving. Right. No. Because Harvard is Harvard, and you got to pay, no matter what you want to study, you're going to pay way too much. And that's why I asked if your parents were part of the decision making, because if they're like, well, Sarah, we know you want to go to this place here,
right,
but it's going to cost a little more. However, you're getting this full ride. Why
right,
not go here? You know, I think it's probably easier said than done.
Right.
But do you pick your colleges?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I look at other families, right? A situation, my brother has children that are getting ready, and they're also into sports, and they've been playing sports all the time. And right now she's doing college interviews, right? Trying to figure out where to go. And I think she will end up going wherever, right? To get hopefully a full ride. Whereas then I look at other people where they have taken their children, let's say, to basketball every day since they were 6, and then now the child doesn't want to do basketball, but they could have played, right? And so that's really difficult for me because personally, again, just personally, if my children, did all of that and we invested so much time, I think I would say, you need to go play, even if it's for a year to help with that cost, because it's quite ridiculous.
Right. Okay. So again, a couple of pointers that I want to just kind of throw out there. And I think the other discussion that led into don't go to Harvard to study basket weaving, very good point, because I do also want students to realize, first of all, when you think about a major that you want to go and study, look at the other options, the other institutions that are going to provide that option, the same. Because I'm going to use engineering as an example. I spend a lot of time in engineering and industry, and I share this with students, and sometimes it's so hard for them to either trust, believe what I'm saying. At the end of the day, when you start working for the company, they don't care whether you went to Harvard, you went to Stanford, you went to Berkeley. They don't really care. They just want to see what work you could do. So that brings back to my point is, if you're getting ready for college and school A is going to cost $80,000 a year and school B is going to cost $40,000, and they're going to be teaching the same thing. Yes, I get it. They might not have a good football program.
Maybe you could just go visit the other school to go to the football.
Thank you. Okay. So again, I'm putting this out there for, with college, parents, need to look at that. So when I say don't pay for college, what I want to do is just make sure we provide all those options, right? One, again, the next time it will be grad school. Grad school even has more opportunities than even undergrad, right? So again, since this is more focused on undergrad, we'll stay with undergrad. But with undergrad, again, sports scholarship is one of those options. Parents, I know there's the 509C, talk to your financial advisors, really have all this in place. Again, community college is a very good start, okay, for the first 2 years.
Yes.
I'm going to let you speak on that, because when I speak on that, like, okay, help us understand why your first 2 years at a community college will be good.
Right. And I didn't do it,
I know.
but my husband did do it. And it's really just to get that gen ed out of the way, right? And you're paying a lower cost, but you're getting just what everybody else is getting, right? The math, the English, even a foreign language, right? It's the same. So, honestly, I probably would encourage my children to go do that, especially with all the costs rising. It's not a bad thing, right? And then you're actually trying to figure out what you're going to do, right? Like we talked about when I was a freshman, I wanted to be a pharmacist, right? And maybe if I had done something differently, if I did a community college, I could have maybe figured it out a little bit there at a lower price point than, doing the things that I did that ultimately led me to where I am today. But it's a great option.
Great. I'm going to put another plug in here for community colleges since we're talking about that. One, we just talked about the cost, and maybe I should have provided some numbers here, but go check it out. They're very cheap. Take your 4-year institutions, take your community colleges, look at the prices. Here you see how reasonable that is. 2, when you go from high school and you're going to college, class sizes wise, and I've been there, Sarah, I bet you even as small as you think your college was, your average class size was probably what?
Oh,
20,
yeah,
40,
it was about
40,
20, 30.
Okay,
yeah.
right.
Depending on what class it was.
Correct.
And some were smaller, but yeah, it's definitely a different than a high school, right? And just trying to navigate through that. That's why I didn't do a bigger college where you're 1 out of 300, 400 in a class for some of these bigger classes. Right. I was maybe 1 out of 25.
Correct. And so that's the other point I always make for community colleges is your class sizes are going to be small.
Right.
So what a perfect transition from high school
right.
to go there was really college environment. And then again, like I said, I'm not trying to hold anybody. If you want to go to the school, finish the Gen Eds, give it the 2 years, and then go there, and then go football or whatever it is. But those are some of the strategies. So in closing, this again, we're getting right to the point here. I didn't even touch on scholarships. Did you get any scholarships at all?
I know that I applied for some. I don't remember. Gosh, it was so long ago. But that's what I was going to say is that there's so many different scholarships that you can apply for, and that your children may not want to write different essays.
Right.
Doesn't matter, right? They should be writing them and applying for everything, right? Even if it's something they maybe won't get, but try, right?
Right. And so I do want to also kind of emphasize scholarships. And students probably will not believe this, but I have talked to people in the scholarship office, and you won't believe how much money doesn't go to the students.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like you said, I will write an essay just to get some free money.
Right.
But there's so much money out there that students don't go for. So again, when I say don't pay for college, yes, you got to pay tuition, but I'm trying to help you kind of cut that cost back a little bit. So, well, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
I think we did pretty good.
Yes.
Again, very good in closing. Yes, don't pay for college. If you want to know how, get in touch. We'll get it. We'll let David tell you all about his experience. I didn't put David on the spot today, but I think I did. Did we? Yeah, a little bit. We just told you, yeah. So, David, what do you want to tell all your friends?
Go to community college first.
You heard it. I didn't say it. David just said.
Did you pay him?
No, I didn't pay him. I didn't pay David.
No,
David said, "Go to come to college." He's got a shirt on there.
Wait tag. Oh no!
Yeah.
You can't say, oh no!
That's okay.
Out.
He's got it. He's got it.
Edit
so,
it out.
David said, "Go to come to college," and David has actually got a good start because he started off at a 4-year college first. That's where his student loan currently is, right, before going to a community college. So very smart move. So point number 1, you heard it from David. He said, go to community college, right? It will help. I said, don't go to Harvard and major in basket weaving. You get our point, okay? Start cheap. Start cheap, and it goes back again to community colleges. And then last but not the least is that there is so much money in your college system that you probably don't know about. You need to talk to people. It's a matter of just writing some scholarships. And that's all I guess we have for today. All right, so once again, if you haven't subscribed, do so. This is one you probably want to share with your parents, okay? So enjoy it, and we'll see you all back next week. Thank you, Sarah. I still don't know how you got 0 loan. I'm very, very impressive. And like I said, David, maybe we need to do a much better job of not taking loans. We need to find out how the women are doing that. They're pretty smart. So, all right. Good job, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah.